Hey guys, it's Kira here, and today I'm speaking to Nina Kanti, who is a blockchain developer and a finalist in the SpaceX Hyperloop competition. Thanks for taking time to talk to me, Nina.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, can you explain exactly what is the Hyperloop?
Sure. So to start with, Hyperloop was an idea proposed back in 2013 by Elon Musk. And what it actually is just a new mode of transport that we haven't really seen before. It's going at the speed of sound, which is around 1,235 kilometers per hour. So to put that into perspective, imagine getting from like Dublin to Galway in like 11 and a half minutes. That's how fast this is going to go.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right? Imagine the amount of time that you're going to save. But also, the Hyperloop is basically in a vacuum tube, meaning that there's no friction slowing it down, it's basically going as fast as possible to where you need to be, going at the speed of sound.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Nina, what exactly makes the Hyperloop so fast?
It's a good question. So I think, as I explained earlier, the Hyperloop is actually in a vacuum tube, meaning that there's no pressure. And that really aids how fast the Hyperloop can go, purely because there's no friction or resistance slowing the Hyperloop down. And it uses this mechanism called electromagnetic levitation. I'm sure you can Google that themselves to understand exactly what electromagnetic levitation is. But essentially what that means is that the pod isn't held down by wheels. It's not going on a road, it's going in a tube, and it's going super fast without any pressure in the tube.
So how exactly do you make sure there's no friction? Is there some particular type of wheel, or how do you achieve that?
Yeah, so the how we achieve that is so there's no wheels in the pod, and it uses this thing called electromagnetic levitation. So there's no pressure in the pod as well. It's, I think, 0 or 1 pascals of pressure, which means that, again, it's a true vacuum. So that's why that there's nothing slowing it down, because there's nothing in the tube itself to slow it down in any way possible. So
it actually levitates, like floats?
Yes, it levitates a little bit. Yes, it does. And that's good, because their wheels kind of, if you look at cars, for example, if you're driving super fast, you can only go so fast because there's friction between the road and the wheel. Whereas in the Hyperloop, because it's in a vacuum tube and there's no wheels, there's nothing stopping it to go as fast as possible, which would be the speed of sound, or some people call it Mach 1 as well.
Okay. Sorry, I just can't get over the levitating part.
Yeah, it sounds like magic, but it's just physics.
Okay, so you obviously didn't build the entire prototype Hyperloop by yourself. So
No.
There was a group. How was it assembled, and like what type of skills did the group need?
Yeah, so we were actually quite a big group. So we were a group of 37 to 40 students. And the university that I go to is Dublin City University, DCU. And the group of really knowledgeable and great smart students was comprised of DCU, Trinity College, DIT, IT Tala, UCD. So we had students from all around the colleges in Dublin, as well as Maynooth University as well. Mm-hmm. So it was students from all different backgrounds, mainly engineering, mathematics, physics, computer science, but we also had like designers, business students, strategy students, marketing students. So we had like a whole array of people helping us build this pod, because when you're building something that's never been built before, you need to have expertise from all over, all different areas of study. So and it was quite an interesting group, because something like this has never been done before, trying to get all these universities coming together to build a new mode of transport and really kind of put Ireland on the map. It was a first for us, and it was a huge success.
Sorry about So can you tell me more about what you're doing right now, like, and what projects you've been doing since the Hyperloop competition?
Yeah, so I was in Los Angeles for like the final year of my studies. And I was there for the Hyperloop competition at SpaceX in LA. And after that, my background is from electronic and computer engineering. That's where my focus was on when I did college. And from that, I'm currently working as a blockchain developer in a company called Deloitte. And I get to do all sorts of different things every day. I can work for, really big companies all the way to startup companies. So I get exposure to lots of different types of ways of working, connecting with different types of people and developing, again, new products that's never been built before, because blockchain is also a new technology that people are working towards, similar to the Hyperloop. So at the moment, I'm not really working on the Hyperloop, but some of the best experiences of my life was building that. And I still kind of keep in touch and keep up with what's happening with the Hyperloop at the moment.
So blockchain, what is that exactly?
So the great question again. So blockchain is basically, I guess the term for it is a distributed ledger technology. And what that basically means is that there's not one party controlling a community. So for example, if we're in a little compound and there's 6 people in the compound, and then I say, I gave you my sweater, Kira, and today's the 14th of February. So I say, I gave my white sweater to Kira. And then everyone in our little group of 6, get a little notepad like this, write it down saying, Nina gave Kira a white sweater. And then say 2 weeks from now, I say, remember that time I gave my yellow sweater to Kira on the 14th of February? Everyone in our little group will be like, well, no, you didn't, because I have that piece of paper saying that you gave a white sweater to Kira on the 14th of February. So that's like the very bare bones, easy concepts of blockchain. And what that basically enables is trust, security, and you're basically not trusting one party to be truthful. So for example, if I said, I remember that time I gave you my yellow sweater, you're trusting me to tell you the truth. Whereas we really should trust everyone in our little group to validate what I said to you.
Okay. So, Nina, I read your profile and it mentions that you're a STEM ambassador. What exactly does that mean?
So basically, working in Deloitte, I get like a really good opportunity to go to secondary schools, talk to TY students as well as final year students. I also get to go to primary schools as well, where we basically, go out to the schools, tell them what STEM is. And what STEM is it's basically 4 core areas of studies. So that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And what that means is we're just trying to encourage more people to look into STEM, whether it be, science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. Look into it, see what it's all about, because it's quite broad. And encourage more people to take up a STEM-based course for their college. And what it means to be a STEM ambassador is basically, when I went to school, I was actually I'm from Meath in the countryside in Ireland. So I went to an all-girls school, and normally in an all-girls school, there wasn't really much of a push to do something that's technology or mathematics related, but that's kind of where my interest was, because I see a few of my family members that were really interested in those subjects. So I love going to the countryside and, telling people what it is and what you can do, because it's quite broad. And, through this, I really got to, take part in the Hyperloop, travel around, around the world. And the work that I'm doing now is really interesting. Again, I get to travel, try new things, and then also kind of tell my, I guess, my peers that are younger, between the ages of 12 to 15, or people that are just the year before they go to college, to think about STEM, see what it's all about, look at the cool things that I'm doing. Why don't you do something similar, kind of like similar to you, Kira? Like what do you like in school? Like, what's your favorite subjects, and what got you so interested in space?
Oh wow. Well, I like science in school.
Mm-hmm.
Maths, I like maths, okay. And what got me interested in like space and sciencey, reading one thing, and
Yeah.
a planetarium. I just visited
Yeah.
there, and I was just like, wow, space is cool.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
So
I love planetariums as well. They're one of the nicest places because they're so calming as well, Don't you think?
well, it's so informative, and
Yeah.
it's you're right, they are calming in a way, and yet just like, oh my gosh, I want to read about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in that way, it's sorry. In one way, it's calming, and in another way, it's just exciting because it's all this new information. I think it's falling out. I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine. No, I totally get you. That's really interesting.
So, what exactly got you into science?
Good question. So I think back in my secondary school, I had like a really good physics teacher. He really encouraged me to look into physics, and I was quite good at it as well, which obviously helped. But back in secondary school, I loved physics, and I like chemistry. Like science was one of those subjects that I really liked because there's a right and wrong answer most of the time, and I'm more lean towards that way than. I liked English. English is a great subject, and I love poetry. But for me, I was more objective than subjective, and what that basically means is I like to know things are right or wrong. I don't like the opinion side of it. So that's kind of what got me into looking into a career in STEM. And then when I looked into it further, I really liked engineering because it was quite broad. I could do anything with it. You could do food engineering, biomedical engineering, which is building prosthetics for your body. For example, if you don't have a kidney, you can get like a prosthetic kidney these days. And you can also get into computer engineering, which is what I'm doing at the moment, which is basically like developing apps on your phone, developing cool websites, and also building cool products. And then, there's electronic engineering as well, which is basically like the physical devices, like your physical phone or your laptop and things like that. So it's quite broad. This engineering itself is quite broad, and you get to learn so much about it. You have these little facts here and there that your friends might know, and you're like, did you know that? Which is really interesting. So that's kind of what got me into engineering. I like the fact that it was really broad, and I wasn't selling myself to one small thing. I had the world's my oyster. I could do anything I want with it.
So, if you weren't doing engineering, what else would you do?
I actually think about this all the time, and the thing I'd like to do if I wasn't doing engineering, I actually think I'd be a baker. And I know, yes, and I know it's so random because you never think an engineer wants to be a baker, but I actually love baking. I make like a really good tiramisu, cupcakes, cakes. I love sweet things, and it's one of the coolest things I like. And it's very calming for me. Like I think it's like a therapy for me. Like I just love going to the kitchen and then spending like 3 hours cooking my favorite dessert. Do you cook much or?
I'm more in my room stuck in a book, honestly.
Nice. Yeah, reading's also super good.
I heard that you also enjoy boxing. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I do. So I do boxing for fun. So at the moment, I try to go boxing once a week after work, and it's a great way to relax and get your exercise in because most of my day kind of comprises of me sitting at a desk in front of a computer all day. So it's kind of nice getting outside and doing something active, especially when you're sitting all day. And I quite like boxing because you feel like a really cool person, punching your stress out, but also just looking cool. You know what I mean? It's a really good activity, and I really would encourage it because your whole body is moving, and you're running, you're boxing, you're moving your legs, you're getting the blood flowing, which is really good.
So again, back to smart futures. What is that exactly?
So I'm one of the faces for this campaign called "I Get Paid to Do This" by Smart Futures, which is run by Science Foundation Ireland. So Smart Futures is basically an initiative set up by Science Foundation Ireland to encourage students to take up a STEM-based course in university. So what I did for Smart Futures was show them like a day in my life, like what I do and the cool things that I get to do in my job at the moment. And for me, the highlights would be that I get to travel, I get to work on cool new things every day, and no day is the same. I get to do something new every day, so it doesn't get boring. Which, you know, I think most people my age would, and I'm in my early 20s, would say that they get bored pretty easily. So I'm very fortunate to say that I don't. I love my job. And Smart Futures is basically showing these people like the careers that you can get into. And in the campaign, it shows like lots of different jobs. Like, for example, I work as a developer, but there's also engineers that work with drones, people that work in labs. So it's just trying to show how broad STEM can be, and you know, some of the pathways you can get into. So it's basically to encourage people to put a STEM-based course in their CAO form.
If people wanted to learn more about you and what you do, where would they look?
Yeah, so I'd actually go to smartfutures.ie. That's where you'd find a profile on myself, what I do on a daily basis. But then you'll also find out some of the other careers that other people are doing. And you know, if people are interested, they can also kind of catch me on LinkedIn. If some people have it, under Nina Kanti, that's my name. But Smart Futures is definitely a great place to go to see what my job entails, what I do, and you know, see if it's a good fit for you if you want to do a career in STEM.
Okay, well, thanks for talking to me today, Nina. And it was really informative and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.